Welcome to week 4 of BIM for Existing Built Environment. Let's recapture what you have learned so far. So far, you should be able to identify the data and the information requirements that are required at the design, the construction, and most importantly at the occupancy stages of a building's development. And all of this should be within the context of a BIM model. So when we talk about information, what we actually mean is both the geometric and the semantic level of detail. You should also be able to identify what are the core 7 digital dimensions proposed for the built environment and be able to provide examples of how these technologies can coalesce into one within an integrated building management system. But you should also note that this does not mean just regurgitating examples from what you have read in the literature. You should also seek to be able to critically appraise what these technologies are and perhaps even suggest some new innovative coalescence of such technologies within your field, specifically for the management of building assets. You should also be able to understand and provide an explanation of the benefits that can be accrued from the greater digital integration. And this in general will encompass all of the aforementioned 7 digital dimensions. And finally, you should now be able to understand and also better structure your coursework assessment based upon the brief guidance note previously suggested as a reading source. Now, the pre-sessional activity for this week is very much linked with last week's post-sessional activity. So the expectation is that this is a tutorial group presentation developed prior to the formal lecture, where students are to present their progress on their componential synthesis of the information requirements. And these information requirements, again, are interlinked with last week's post-sessional activity. So if you don't remember what that is, please make sure that you check last week's post-sessional activity. Now, this is a flipped curricular activity, and what that means is that it's student-led. So students will be presenting to the module tutors, and this is why it's called a flipped curricular activity. Today's lecture is going to cover a guest speaker. So we will have a guest speaker attending, and the guest lecturer will be providing further details about the way in which BIM has been applied in practice, and specifically the way in which BIM has been applied for the conservatoire development and also some of the other recently built campus developments. Make sure that you prepare some questions in advance for this guest speaker, because this is an opportunity for you as the student to engage with a practitioner. And although some of you may already have industry contacts, use this as an opportunity to find out intricate details about the way in which BIM has been applied in these particular cases, because the conservatoire building is very much interlinked with your coursework assessment, as you are supposed to produce a consultant report all within the confines of the conservatoire project development. This is your unique opportunity to get first-hand information about the ways in which BIM was used to better facilitate asset management post-construction. The post-sessional activity for this week is to download and review the following research paper. And this research paper, again, will form the basis of next week's lecture. And I would like to just reiterate that this paper is a useful resource for you to identify the way in which clash detection, for instance, can help and improve the development of an as-built BIM model, which is then used typically by the facilities managers or the asset management team members. So when you're reading this paper, make a note of the way in which building information modeling federation, as well as clash detection, can help improve the development of an as-built BIM. The additional reading that has been suggested for this week is the CIBSE logbook. Now this is a logbook for the conservatoire development, and this will provide the sort of anchoring of your actual coursework assessment. Use this particular document as your primary data set. So this is the primary documentation for this particular case study. Use it to identify the way in which asset management has been planned, the way in which BIM data can be used for asset management, and the types of O&M requirements for the conservatoire building. And again, this particular document can be accessed and downloaded from Moodle under the section called Brief Guidance Notes. Once again, I thank you for listening.